All right, good evening, everyone. I would like to call the joint village board and village planning commission meeting to order for Thursday, July 25th at 6:30 p.m. Everyone rise for the pledge. Remove your headgear.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could just issue a reminder to everyone to please silence your phones if you haven't already done so. Roll call. Got Lake, it's not here. Calatola Roby is here. You can say here.
Newman,
There.
Mark. Here. Summers.
Here.
Gates.
Here.
And Plan Commission. Brim.
Here.
Lake. Level. Here. Newman,
Here.
Janice.
Here.
Here.
And Gates.
Here. Thank you to the board members who made a special trip here this evening to try to facilitate this. I appreciate it. Item 4, statement of public notice. Item 5, discussion of possible approval of plan commission meetings from 6/27/24. Do we have any comments or corrections?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Citizen comments. Mr. Green, I know you said you had some comments.
Yeah, Griffin 20545 West Lake Open. The reason why I'm making up these comments tonight is because the village board is present, and this will be saving me time for coming next month. I think I know what the status is, and I don't want any answers tonight, but I want to see it on the next agenda. The status of the ARPA funds. The funds need to be committed by the end of this year, so that they can be all paid off by 2026. I want to be sure that whatever money's left has been committed, and I want to know what it's being committed. The other thing is, trustee Cavalola Roby brought something up a couple months back, and I've been thinking about this. And part of it is the landscaping in these developments. Now, if you're a homeowner in a regular house, and say if we required a tree, you put a tree in, a nursery guarantees a tree 1 year. 2 years, still living, 5 years later it dies, who cares? I think these developments, once they have been established, and they have gone, and this we'll have to figure out if it's go to the village board or the planning commission, to figure out is after 3 or 4 years, all bets are off on your landscape. You know, it's established, they satisfied the requirements, and we let it go. Because we have a lot of people with these businesses that have signs, we ask them to landscape, and 5-10 years later, the trees, plantings, all are gone. They never go back. So it's something that trustee Rober brought up, and I think we need to look at these developments as they have gotten matured and over time, that we shouldn't worry about their trees, because you can't help a tree that's already 8 years, 10 years old when it's planted. If it dies 10 years later or 5 years later, that's unfortunate. It happens. So I think we have to figure out if that should be an item and where it would be put in, if that would come from the village board or the planning commission.
Anything else?
And listening to last village board meeting, there's a point in that meeting where a business person was telling the board about trimming weeds in exchange for allowing of an action. I hope nobody on this board is entertaining this, and that discussion should have been immediately halted.
I agree.
And I do not want to ever hear that type of, hey, do this, I'll do this again in front of town, because if I find any board member, I will make sure that they aren't voted in next time. Thank you.
Mike, and I would say on the developments, it's gonna depend on the developer agreements also, because the landscaping is part of the developer agreement.
But
So-
you can put it in there with a time frame.
But they're a little different than a private property, so that's,
But
gotta look at it.
discuss that.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Any other comments?
Can I talk about the trees for Whispering Ridge?
You can make a public comment,
Do it now?
a
or-
citizen comment. Yep,
okay, citizen.
Yep, you just
We
have to-
just today, we replaced 7 of the dead trees and we have more coming. That alone is $10,000. We can't do it all at one time. And we have some more dead trees, which we'll have to look at next year and replace a couple of more trees. So we are doing it, but when money is available, so we'll keep the eye of it.
Any other citizen comments?
I'd like to say, Mr. Grimm's comment was myself that made that comment that would have my crew. They can do some weed trimming and stuff, and by no means did I mean that it would be the trade for anything or anything like that, so. I apologize to Mr. Grimm or anybody else that may have took that, to that. Level of, that's what was trying to be done. That's not the case at all. It simply was to try to help the village in their crisis of. Not quite, from what I've heard, have enough money to do trimming and lawn care and such, and it was just simply a business to the community offer. Has nothing to do with, trading for anything or anything like that, so just want to make that comment.
Okay, any other comments?
I just have a comment on, Mr. Newman's comment about the developer agreement. But the developer agreement, is it not until the development is completed and then it is that contract is ended? Or is it, extended through the life?
Project requires landscaping in the developer agreement,
Correct, I understand that.
so you can discuss it if it dies or not, but it's different than a private property.
I think Mike's question is does the development agreement go on into perpetuity or does it terminate at some point and turn into something else?
Ask my counsel.
Right.
Yeah. There's no uniform answer for that question. It's a very valid one. Unfortunately, many communities really don't have the ability at the time that they are trying to foster development to anticipate what is going to happen with regard to the landscaping, let alone with regards to the ownership of the property. Because oftentimes a well-run development has an owner that cares, maintains, and replaces the landscaping, very much like we have the condo association that was just referred to. In my experience, most development agreements do not have language that carry on perpetuity. There is a dispute as to whether the contract has been reached and satisfied at the point where the occupancy permits are given to all the units. But I think that the village can try to negotiate nevertheless replacement landscaping, maintaining that it's going to maintain the value of the properties, the attractiveness of the properties. And that's my advice at this time. Try to negotiate with the property owner, appeal to the property owner's sense of pride and good fortune for being in land and having occupancy, which I think many of the units in the village have.
Well, that's why, when I made the comments, is if we can get it on, I don't know who board would handle it, if we can bring that up into a discussion, so it could be. You know, so these places have an idea over time.
Yeah, that might be something that the legislative committee can look at, possibly clarifying through our ordinances.
But little language in.
And coincidentally, I believe, you're the chair of the legislative committee, I believe, right, Anna?
Oh, yeah, see, you brought it up. Unfortunately. You got work.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other citizen comments? Okay, moving on then. Item number 7, discussion of possible action to refer village code violation of storage of junk motor vehicles to Margaret Warner at 7374 North Line Street to municipal court. This vehicle, it's been brought to my attention that this has been handled and taken care of, so I think
No
we
action.
could, yeah, do we need to, can we just take no action, or do we need a
Correct.
motion to remove it, or no, we're good? No action required. Moving on then, item number 8. Discussion of possible action regarding plan of operation for McDugout Pub and Grill, 7273 North Landon Road, Landon, Wisconsin, 53046 for Greg Fisher and Jerry Anderson. I think what I'll do, first of all, is the applicants are here. I'll give them a moment to introduce themselves and give us their spiel, and then we can go through the comments that kind of put there. So.
I'm Greg. I grew up in Sussex, went to Hamilton, been around the area, worked in the area. Previously just worked with Mike down here. So we're familiar, everybody here, and we had the opportunity to open up the dugout, and everybody said, don't change the name, so we changed it just enough to be a small Irish dugout.
Mr. Anderson, you have
I'm,
anything to add?
Terry Anderson, longtime friend of Greg and Terry, his wife, known her since I was 18, probably a little longer. And yeah, that opportunity came up and we were both looking for a change, and it was great timing. So we're looking forward to having a successful business.
Great. Well, then I think for the planning commission, Ben, it looks like you've prepared some extensive comments here. I've shared a copy of these with the applicants so that they can follow
Good.
along as we go.
Good. Yeah, in summary, the use is allowable. It's similar to previous uses. Obviously, it's the application itself that is lacking information in detail. So what my comments basically do is for the most part, spell out what needs to be added to a revised site plan. Cast tenants there and their site plans have included more of that information. So it should be able to be obtained, or you could generate it yourself, but it has to do primarily with them looking on page 2 here under item G. The plat that is the legal plat that's submitted, the site plan is drawn on top of that, and I fully understand that the building owner probably provided this to the tenant here, so a little bit of this is not, it's educational, okay? That's a dated plan, still says that the parking lot is half gravel. This should be updated and drawn to scale. Site plan should include following information. Indication of what stalls belong to the tenants versus employees and patrons. Dumpsters and screen locations should be clearly labeled. Location of landscaping, even if existing, interior floor plan, location of all signage, meaning on the outside of the building, and labeled building entrances. The remaining comments go on about lighting and surface water drainage. Information that needs to be added. Specifically on the domestic water supply, it was listed as being supplied by a private well. My recollection is that they have connected to the municipal water system.
Yep.
And if that's the case, that should be updated. Signage has been brought up for this building in the past. No, there's obviously the wall hanging sign that kind of sticks out. It's got 2 faces, and then there's the letter sign on the back. So sign permits will be required.
Correct.
For those two signs. And then the window signage, I did not quote what is allowable and what's not allowable on the window signage, but historically, there's been a lot of signage on the window at the entrance there too, and that should all just be done in a manner that conforms with the ordinances. Sorry to jump around, but back to page 1, just 2 questions here, both under the section E, first off, business operation. Just because of the history of the various plans of operation that have been granted for the property in the past. I would like to hear a little bit more. I think the planning commission should hear a little bit more about forms of entertainment, et cetera, that might be incorporated with the business operation. And then the noise levels were listed as being 60 to 80 decibels. I pasted into my comments here a chart from the ordinances that limits that. Specifically note that the ordinances, we've never measured. But
Ben,
it would be,
excuse me a minute, sir, can you hold your conversation maybe
Yeah, I'm
till
sorry.
after the meeting?
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
we've never had to pursue anything in this regard, but technically those levels would be measured at the property line. And noise obviously dissipates, so just I think generally some discussion on forms of entertainment, whether that be live music or whatever that might be noise generating. Along with other types of entertainment, just to see that it would conform as an allowable use and not require a conditional use.
Ben, does this have to require a fire inspection also?
I talked to the fire chief and he said that he had just been in there a couple months ago. We haven't changed anything. He said he'll be fine. He'll be there within the next month to double check everything. So
Do you know who the current trash company is?
John, I believe, yes.
And do you have a signed lease?
Yes.
For the
Not with me, but yes. we will.
Did you apply for a temporary sign permit for the banner
Did not.
hanging on the front of the
Wasn't
building?
aware that we would need, I guess. We had planned on signing or getting a sign permit for the sign that was painted outside, the one that's there. and watching.
Just so you know, temporary signs do often require permits. Okay.
Understood.
Hector, do you have additional comments for the planning commission to consider?
I do not. However, if the plan commission is inclined to recommend proceeding, I would recommend some kind of a limited conditional approval to allow the applicant some time to submit the information by the next plan commission meeting, so that the applicants are held to the same standard that the previous occupants have been held to.
And just a little background, I'm sure everybody probably knows, but I'll restate what is presumably obvious. The previous operator of the Henny's dugout. I won't go into specifics, but it's no longer the operator of that location. These gentlemen saw the opportunity to come in and take over. Basically the same operation with minimal changes other than expanding, I believe, your serving hours and food offerings and things of that nature, right? But other than that, it's substantially the same. And they were hoping to be able to get all this converted over and get licensing and be able to take advantage of the numerous people that will be in town this weekend for the car show to kind of get a a little kickstart or soft opening, if you will. And which is why I asked some of the trustees to be here to help facilitate with the permitting later on in the agenda. So that was the goal, was to hopefully allow them to be able to do that. You know, we've got some hurdles to.
Were you
To
planning
negotiate here.
to serve any food this weekend
No,
or just
no,
drinks?
food we don't have, that's all to the state, and that's
Yes,
next.
that's what I was
Next
wondering.
week working on, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, correct.
And it's supposed to be warm too, so I think it'll be beneficial.
Right. You have suppliers set up, wholesalers set up for your
They can
alcohol.
all be there in the morning. We've set it all up and.
Yeah.
Everything's ready to go.
I think we have to have an answer to every one of these points.
Well, yeah, we would conditionally approve that.
Answers now.
So,
Well, one of the things that I wanna ask and bring up, and you know. We always go around and around with hours. And hours of operation, I see it's 3 AM. Now, that means that they might be in the bar at 3, but
Right.
there is bar hours in town.
That's
I
correct.
heard that.
Okay. Yep.
Then on the very first page of their plan of operation, the telephone of business to pub and grill, I tried dialing that on my phone and I can't get that number to answer. So if you can correct that item, it's like a third line down. You know, 2 right below the address, it says pub and grill for the telephone of business.
I don't see the telephone.
We might not-
Are you on the notes?
No, on the plan of operation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What number is on there?
It just says pub and grill.
Well, we just got the phone.
We just got-
We just, yeah, it went through Spectrum.
It just went through
We
Spectrum.
can do what,
Have the phone number, please.
Yep.
In business.
sure do. 262-293-3901.
Yeah.
So can you explain the types of entertainment you might have and other businesses?
We haven't planned on any live music at the time. I actually would like to come back to the next meeting and we'll find out what we would like to do. I don't think we'll be doing anything outside, obviously. But we don't have any real good plans. To be honest with you.
For
It's not
music.
like something we would just throw in there. I would definitely get
But you don't,
approval of.
you don't want to be considered having thoughts about being outside.
Maybe in the
So-
future for like an outdoor pig roast or something like that, but we would plan on coming in for a specific approval and permitting for that.
And do that at.
Yeah.
Yes,
We're not gonna do anything without.
I mean, would you have music inside and?
we may have, we have a jukebox, but again, we'd be looking for approval to make sure that we're doing everything, crossing their Ts and such.
Yeah, I know in the past, there's been live music, there's been karaoke. Am I missing anything that anybody's aware of?
Used to have hamster,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live music, live music.
and elk and everything out on the front porch.
Some of us don't hang out in bars as much as you, Patrick.
I don't hang out in bars at all.
he's doing research.
Official visits only.
Yes.
On the second page of the plan of operation, in the bottom where it says this connected sanitary sewer holding tank. Put in existing, let's cross off existing and put down sanitary sewer system, please. And the next line is, it is on village water.
Mhm.
Do you know, I know this is gonna be a problem with you and your landlord. Are the dumpsters behind screening, you know?
They are not at the moment. What we're planning on doing within the next few weeks, we want to tear the shed down that's there, that's falling apart, and then screen in the 2 dumpsters, because right now.
So she knows that?
Yes, she's already told me to make sure we get that done.
And I told you about a demolition permit for the garage, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I know a guy.
Right.
Lot of fun.
On the third page, you have recycling and garbage state law, and you said see attached. description of planting, see attached, fences and enclosures and stuff like that, see attached. And I kept looking for all, see attached, and I can't find them.
It was all part of the plan.
Flat.
And then like, the engineer said, under the signage, all your signs are requiring a separate sign permit.
We'll probably be ditching that sign that's on the back. The sheet
Attached
metal
to
that
the
she
meeting, yeah.
snipped it And put in there, we're probably not, we're
With the
probably only
changeable
just gonna have
letters.
the main sign on the corner.
Yeah.
And then some signage in the windows, but that's more like, Coors Light or whatever.
Yeah, and the signage can be in the windows inside
Inside, yes,
Yeah.
I did read.
and
Right,
less than 50% coverage.
yep.
Ben, can you explain better the projected noise levels and what you were trying to get out? Explanation of.
Yeah, so in the very black and white engineer fashion. They simply listed the upper range here as 80 decibels, and I have to point out that. The ordinance caps out at 72. I cannot give you a frame of reference for what that is, and I see that the table here in the ordinance lists for various. Octave band frequencies, what the various decibels would be. All I can tell you is if there was a noise complaint. And if they were obstinate in addressing it. We would come out with the sound meter, or the building inspector would come out with the sound meter and measure it at the property. But just on its face, we can't approve that upper level when it's over the threshold allowable.
Like 80 should not be allowed.
Right.
So this,
As a property,
so this should really be reading at the most, then would be 60 to 72.
Or 72 max.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
should be under 72, I would think.
So 60 to 72 or less than 73.
I would just say less than 72. I think it's all relatively arbitrary, right?
Yeah, you see it on Saturday, Sunday, 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock.
You'd be able to hear each other talk at 72 decibels.
Yeah,
No,
right.
no, there's somebody at 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock that'll exceed this decibel limit. I'll hear it way up in my house. Won't be, Mr.
That won't be us. Oh.
Sounds like a rumor.
Yeah, two.
Oh, yes.
Maybe double.
You got several?
Oh.
So, my question to you, Hector, is if the commission so decides to conditionally issue, or allow or accept a conditional version of this plan of operation pending certain additions, corrections, as we've discussed, how do we then go about tying that all back in the next meeting? Do we have the authority or a mechanism in place if, and not to say this is gonna happen, but if they don't do any of this and they come back next month, because we've seen this happen here before.
Oh, yeah.
And these things aren't all buttoned up and taken care of, then how do we go about putting an end to what's happening?
Well, what I would recommend is that you enact an ordinance, enact a motion that basically provisionally approves the application for plan of operation for a period ending the next plan commission date, with the condition that all of the issues raised by the village engineer be satisfied through documentation or other means. Otherwise, it will lapse in any event because this has to be renewed by the plan commission. You're essentially giving them about a 30-day plan of operation And as this is a continuation of the prior business, but in effect a startup for these individuals. And in view of the fact that the village has been making an effort to be supportive of new businesses, new residents, new enterprises in the village, that would be consistent. Because your approval lapses on its own.
Oh, and just to be clear, I'm not trying to be critical of you specifically. We have just historically had some challenges with going back and cleaning up some of these types of items, so I just want to make sure procedurally what we're doing and it's all out in the open and clear.
You know, basically, we've got it pretty much cleaned up right now. We only have their entertainment type portion of stuff. And then most of it then all centers around the plaque.
Yeah.
Where it needs to be cleaned up. They need to get the
Right.
plaque cleaned up.
The site plan.
And interior drawings.
Right.
So for the most part, we got everything else cleaned up with the decibels. The various little things that I found and other people have found. So I think we're pretty close now that we can send it to the village board and they can pick it around.
Is it okay to keep such? with
Sounds like you might be bordering on a motion. there.
Yeah, I would think.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to limit to.
What Hector said.
Provisional.
I make a motion to provisionally approve the dugout, which I haven't figured out who's got the Irish name there. Provisional approval with the requirements that they fill in items E. As far as the descriptions. Items G, legal descriptions, H. Exterior lighting, H. The surface water drainage, H. Landscaping. Recycling and planting of the fences. And then, you know, obviously no signage. Until the next plan commission meeting of August 29th, 2024.
Great, that's it.
Mhm.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We need a motion to send it to the village board. Yeah, that was the. Yeah, that was for. Yeah. And I don't know that we need.
No, it goes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the fourth, it's last Thursday. Last Thursday of the month. So, yeah, that's-
29th.
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's coming up. Okay. Okay, so, do we have a motion to adjourn the planning commission?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the planning commission.
Second.
In a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the planning commission is adjourned.
Nicole, do I need to start a new meeting with this? It can be a continuation, okay.
So for the village board, then I would like to move on to item number 11, discussion and possible action on the approval of non-alcoholic beverage license for the period July 25th, 2024 to June 30th, 2025 to make Dugout Pub and Grill 7273 North Lannon Road.
Hi, how are you?
Did I miss one? I'm sorry, excuse me, corrections. Item number 10, discussion and possible action on the approval of combination Class B retail license for the period of July 25, 2024 to June 30, 2024. Dugout Pub and Grill, 7273 North Landon Road. Thank you, Brenda. Or Nicole.
And I did notice the green shirt, so I mean, that's something.
That's not Irish green, that's mint green,
It's
that's.
100% Irish. He ran Irish Fest for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's for that.
My name is Colleen and I have red hair, so I'll be the authority on that.
My name is Patrick, and I don't know that I have more than a couple percent of Irish. All right, so on to the Class B license.
All right.
And I believe,
This is all has been reviewed by the police, correct?
yeah,
Yeah, we're all,
they've
okay.
all been reviewed and approved.
All right, do you want a motion on just this one, or do you want?
Item 10, yes. please.
Item 10, I would like to make a motion to approve the combination Class B retail license for the period of July 25th, 24 through June 30th, 2025 for the McDugout Pub and Grill located at 7273 North Lannon Road.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Do we want to grant this for the year, or do we want to tie this to the plan of operation?
Liquor license. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think the liquor license will be for the year, and then it's just the plan of without a plan of operation that renders the license.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Invalid, right?
Yes, the enforcement mechanism is as follows. If there is no valid plan of operation in place, there can be a prosecution for operating without that approval. The license term itself has been covered by the fee that has been paid. But even though they hold the license, they won't have a valid approval to exercise the license rights.
Okay.
Any other comments? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, discussion of possible action on the approval of non-alcoholic beverage license for the period of July 25, 2024 to June 30, 2025 to McDugout Pub and Grill, 7273 North Landon Road.
I make a motion to approve the non-alcoholic beverage license as stated under item 11 of the agenda.
Motion and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12, discussion of possible action on the approval of amusement device license for the period July 25th, 2024 to June 30th, 2025 to McDugout Pub and Grill, 7273 North Landon Road.
I make a motion that we approve the amusement device license for item number 12 on the agenda for McDugout Pub and Grill.
Motion and seconded. Any other discussion?
The only discussion I have is, did you notice on the application, it said July 1st, June 30th, what we're granting.
I think that's,
Yes.
I think that's the standard license period.
Okay.
Mhm. These always renew and, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, item 13, discussion of possible action on approval of operators licenses for the period July 25th, 2024 to June 30th, 2025 to the following. Greg Fisher, McDugout Pub and Grill, Gerald Anderson, McDugout Pub and Grill, and Keith Patel, Landon BP, and Keita Patel, Landon BP.
I make a motion that we approve the operators licenses for the 4 people listed under item 13 of the Village of Lannon agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Brenda, thank you or Nicole, thank you for the notations on these.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
That is helpful. Promise I won't call you Brenda next meeting. She'll be back.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, I forgot to say one thing for Plan Commission, welcome to land.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, thank you.
Good luck.
Are you clear on all of those things? Do you need
Crystal.
further notes?
Wood,
Do you need?
and go
Okay.
through anything we need, any questions we'll have.
Yeah, you can even run that
And-
past Ben before you bring it back to the next meeting and he will dot
We're
your
gonna need
Ts.
some checks.
Yeah.
Fine. Some
We have our
checks.
checkbook.
Have a check.
All right, for the licenses and the.
One lump sum or
Fees.
all individual.
Talk to Nicole about that,
Brenda,
Also known as Brenda.
right?
and the permits for the signage?
Yes, I have.
When you do this, when you go to change the actual signs, you can just submit a separate sign permit application when you do those. And pay that fee when you do that.
Put
We'll
that
take
on the
down that-
list.
We'll take that down.
Tell Terry.
Or get a temporary sign. It's- I think it's $25.
In this case, it's not coming soon, it's gonna be open tomorrow.
Taking it down's great too.
Scissor just cut off the word scissor, what's coming.
Coming soon, right?
Well, welcome to Planning. I hope it goes well for you. I really do.
Thank you very much.
Everybody's help.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
We'll make you proud. We'll keep the noise level down. We'll keep the place neat, clean.
Right? Keep the riffraff inside at least and not the street.
Otherwise, you'll see her.
Yeah.
But
I hope
again-
to meet her, except for on a casual basis.
And it's gonna be a busy weekend, with Cars on Me,
Yes.
Harley downtown.
Yeah, that's why this is a blessing for you guys to get these
Yes,
through
thank
for
you
us.
so much,
It's
so much.
excellent.
And a special thanks again to the trustees that did.
For
make a
showing up.
special
Oh,
Yep, thank you so much.
Point of making it tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
short
they had a
notice,
lot
we
of
know they're
plans
on a
tonight, I'm
timeline,
sure.
So,
yeah, I did.
awesome.
Motion to adjourn. We have a motion to
I'm sorry?
adjourn.
I second. Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I have. many
Yes,
times,
we have,
yes.
I sweltered there. Many.
Last 2 years ago, I didn't.
We have a motion to adjourn. Any other, all in favor?
Aye.
Really good. Now we.
Thank you very much. My floor for here. We don't have any.
Pay the money.
We have tap water. If you're so thinking about it.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh,
We are, because we had, they're dead trees, so we took them down.
But now, work on it.
We are.
So, I mean.
We
so
planted
much that-
7 today.
Not so much that, work on how to write it up now, so we.
It has to be done.
Yeah, you can, you guys.
We're doing a perimeter.
But if you want to do trees, that's one thing. But I
But
mean, we're-
what he's
I'm
saying
saying
is
it's not
that-
the weekend, so that's the village should not be inspecting anymore. No, you're.
To be honest, I'd rather have you be involved, otherwise they won't do it. I'm about this.
Well,
Oh, I see what you're
Be
saying.
2 years, finally get 7 trees.
You know, when you look at Overstone.
Yeah.
You know, because you guys all have HOAs,
Yeah.
Overstone has an HOA. So. The last trees, it's not planting grass now.
Yeah.
That one I expect to see for 3 years.
Yeah.
If you take the rental properties, apartments down there, since that's a management, that should go forever.